Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is our Thursdays 13 episode. We are going to be covering all the 13 movies about football?
13 football movies. Yeah, it's football season
13 movies about football for today's Thursday's 13 list, as well as a bunch of other news we want you to know about for this week. This is Before Coffee, the father-daughter comprehensive news of planet Earth podcast, where we just drank some coffee. We're learning to read live on stream. So let's get into today's headline. Today on Thursday's 13. Only 3 NATO allies set to meet the new 3.5% spending target in 2025. And EU auto groups press for change to no longer feasible car CO2 emission targets.
Okay, we're going to go to South America, where the Prime Minister, or President Milei, was pelted with stones. And we have tragedy in Sudan as children are starving to death.
Lausanne in rioting after death of youth on scooter chased by police in Switzerland. And Japanese government warns of volcanic eruption with dramatic AI images.
And for Thursday 13, we're going to talk about football again, because football season's starting. We're going to talk about legendary football movies.
And in my culture news, Gogh Museum warns of closure unless Dutch state meets a €2.5 million funding shortfall.
And it's National Thoughtful Day, so stop being thoughtless for one day at least, August 28th, 2025, on Before Coffee.
Let's be thoughtful and thoughtless at the same time. What's thinking? Mm-hmm. Thinking is hard.
Thoughtful. That means you're full of thought. I guess. I don't know. Thoughtless. Better than thoughtless. I can't believe I did that to you. I was being thoughtless. Well, stop being thoughtless then. It's very easily.
Just don't do it.
All right.
It's simple. Okay. Anyways, let's roll our segue wheel to see what segue we're going to have for our...
Yeah, I was going to do this one story about this Iowa State Senator winning. Oh, she won in the Republican District 1 of Iowa. And I was like, okay, let's look at Ballotpedia and see what the actual results were. And I looked at it and it's like, oh, District 1 in Iowa is a completely different district than it was 2 years ago when they had an election, right? They redrew the maps, right? So, hey, 3 years, or whatever, it was a special election 3 years ago. I'm like, yeah, again, the map is different. District 1 is a totally different part of the state than it was. So saying that somebody won that district by whatever 3 years ago is meaningless because it doesn't exist anymore. So all these people are excited about nothing. It was a totally different group of voters. It wasn't even the same part of the state. It was a completely different group of voters. Oh, they took that. They didn't take anything. Yeah, I guess they did. They took a seat that could have gone Republican. But other than that, cheering like you'd turn some voters' minds, you didn't. You just redistrict. That's it. That's what gerrymandering is. You put all the voters in one district, and so you can control the rest of the state. That's what Iowa does. Don't worry. You'll lose that power that you just barely got now. Well, it's actually no power, but on with the show.
Segue is limerick. So I hope you're now time to wake up. It's time to wake up. My first story is coming out of NATO. They have only 3 countries have met the 3.5% global spending target for this year. This is from Ariel Pugnet on Eurocities. Latest figures published by NATO today on the 28th of August show that almost no country is set to meet the new spending target this year, which was raised from 2% to 3.5% of the GDP of each country. The graphs available on NATO's website show that all 31 military allies, not counting Iceland, which does not operate any army, will meet the 2% target that was originally set, but nobody will reach the 3. Only 3 countries are meeting the 3.5, which are Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia, which makes sense because Russia is right there next door. So, yeah. They're definitely spending a lot of money on military. The new goal, agreed earlier in the summer, for the coming years. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has already said earlier in the summer that he expected all to reach the 2% target, which they did. The 31 military allies did reach 2%, but not everyone reached the 3.5% that they set in the summer. The news represents a major shift in European and Canadian spending on defense, with historic laggards Spain, Italy, and Canada announcing that they found extra cash for armed forces. Wow, freaking just throwing strays over here, those laggards. The change in defense policy followed convicted felon Trump's request that other military allies invent foreign security instead of free riding on Washington. I don't know why it's called free riding when they pay them money, right? It's like if you delivered a package to me and I paid you for delivering the package, and then you said, "You're just free riding on me delivering packages." I paid you. I paid you to deliver the package. It's not free riding. What? These aren't donations. You're not donating trillions of military aid to Europe. They're paying you for it. Rant aside, in 24, NATO countries together spent a record of 1.3 trillion, or about 1.12 trillion euros, on military needs in 2021 prices. This year, the headquarters estimates the figures go above the $1.4 trillion, or around 1.2 trillion euro limit or threshold. But starting next year, the 2% target will be obsolete. At their June summit this year, NATO countries agreed to up their defense expenditure to 3.5% of GDP, a sharp increase from the 2% goal set in 2014. Yeah, because it might not seem like a lot, like a 1.5% increase, but we're talking a huge amount of money. 1% of GDP, which let's say you make 20 trillion GDP, 1.5 more of that is a lot of money. A lot of money. The 3.5% figure, like its predecessor, encompasses procurement, personal pay, and operation cost. On top of that, they agreed to a 1.5% GDP target for wider defense-related spending, such as Ukraine aid, cybersecurity, and transport infrastructure refurbishment. Together, the two targets will form an ultimate 5% spending goal. According to NATO's data, only Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia are on track to spend the 3.5% or more on core defense spending. I believe we even talked about how Poland went even farther than 3.5%, like 4%, but they have a good reason to be. All three directly border Russia or Belarus and are likely to be on the front line in any conflict with Russia. 4 further countries that set to spend more than 3% on GDP are Estonia, which is also next to Russia, Norway, the United States, and Denmark. But the US is always spending all their money on... It's crazy that they spent so little, because I thought the GDP of the United States was a majority of it was spent on military spending. The US, which has the largest military in the alliance, does not meet the baseline requirement. The graph shows it's spending 3.22 down since 2014. And the bulk of NATO countries find themselves barely reaching the original 2% benchmark, with 17 governments spending between 2 and 2.06. This shows how long and difficult the path will be to meet all the new goals. Yeah, you gotta start moving that money around and trying to get it to where you want it to go. And, you have a limerick? Was that enough time? Do you need me to talk more?
Do you have another story?
I have another story.
Or no? Yeah, maybe we could start that. I'm almost done.
Okay. My next story is about auto groups pressing to not do the CO2 emission targets. They're saying it's no longer feasible, so we're going to give up. This is on Reuters, coming out of Brussels. The European Union targets to cut CO2 emissions from vehicles, including a 100% reduction for cars by 2035, are no longer feasible. Reminder, the heads of European automobile manufacturers and automotive suppliers association said on Wednesday. So this isn't a scientist. This isn't somebody who I would be surprised if they know anything about how the reduction of CO2 emissions. They're just saying it's not possible, so we're not going to do it anymore. Because they make all the money from it. So why would they? Right? Why would they want to cut CO2 emissions when they can just say, oh, we can't do it, it's too hard? Can we continue making a lot of money? European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is set to host an automotive sector executives on September 12th to discuss the future of the sector, which is facing twin threats of Chinese competition in electric vehicles and U.S. tariffs. Makes sense. In a letter to von der Leyen, Mercedes-Benz CEO Ola Källenius and Matthias Zink, CEO of Powertrain and Chassis of Schaeffler AG, said they were committed to achieving the EU's net zero goal in 2050. But getting to 35 is just not possible. However, they said EU manufacturers now face near total dependency on Asia for batteries, as well as even charging infrastructure, higher manufacturing costs, and U.S. tariffs. Build your own factories then, I don't know. The bloc needed to go beyond new vehicle targets, they argued, such as a 55% CO2 emissions reduction from the 2021 levels for cars and 50% for vans by 2030 and 100% for both by 2035. An exhaust pipe of a car, this is another caption, the picture of an exhaust pipe of a car putting its gross gas all over the environment. Electric cars have a market share of around 15% of new EU cars, with vans at 9%, meaning the rigid car and van CO2 targets for 2030 and 2035 is, in today's world, simply no longer feasible, they wrote. You're going to give us any reasons why it's no longer feasible, or you're just saying something? You know what, guys? I can't do that because I decided I can't. Okay. We don't care? I don't care. What are they basing it off of? I guess they just said they have to depend on China, but I guess what they need to do is they need to put pressure, or the EU needs to put pressure to create more battery factories. I know they're building one in the UK, even though they're not part of the EU. All those other things, so I guess that's what they're asking. It's not feasible unless we build a bunch of battery and infrastructure for building all the things that we need electric vehicles. Lingo mandates and penalties would not drive the transition, they wrote. EVs will lead the charge, but there must be space for plug-in hybrids, range extenders, highly efficient internal combustion engine vehicles, hydrogen and decarbonized fuels, the letter said. CO2 regulation for heavy-duty trucks and buses must also be reviewed, two association chiefs said. In March, the Commission agreed to give automakers extra time to meet emission reduction targets initially set for 2025. Members of von der Leyen's center-right grouping have also called for the EU to withdraw its 2035 ban on combustion engines. Looks like they're breaking under the pressure. That's right. Change does not come easy. Change is hard. It's rough. And a lot of times, I guess, no longer feasible. Still writing your story?
Yeah, I was just rewriting it, but I can read it. The first one on the NATO thing. Diaper Donnie asked NATO for new measure, which required spending of treasure. More than 2% seems money well spent as Putin causes much displeasure. All right. Next one, science literacy. Well, I get no applause for that. I feel cheated.
I can play applause.
I worked hard on it.
You're not giving me enough time.
Our second story, science literacy can be hard when you're a oligarch with all the cards. But when the planet burns, all your ill-gotten earns will go up with all the other shards. There's your stories, your limericks. My terrible reading. There you go. Hey, you're overdoing it. Thank you.
Very good rhyming as always.
Next.
We love a good rhyme.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go to Argentina. We're going to South America first, where we get the President Milei. Remember the guy who had the chainsaws running for office and got elected because of populism? And I'm going to reduce inflation. And so far, well, again, 39% inflation is lower than it was, but it's still not what they want, I suppose. This is from DW.com. John Silk is his name. I bet he's
nice.
A smooth guy. He ain't getting like smell silk. Well, John Silk, baby. Argentina President Javier Milei was pelted with stones on Wednesday as his campaign caravan cut through Buenos Aires province. Milei came away unhurt, his spokesman said, but the incident cut short the rally and ratcheted up tensions just days before provincial elections in the capital ahead of midterm elections in October. The Argentinian president was whisked from the scene by security, but sustained no injuries after his motorcade was attacked. Presidential spokesman Manuel Adorni posted, "Nobody can afford a gun, so they're in Argentina, they're pelting them with rocks. That's all we got. That's one good thing about inflation. Nobody can own anything." Yeah, right. It's like, yeah, we got rocks. Yeah. Oh my God, he was all unarmed. Milei is campaigning for October midterm election, was riding on the back of a pickup truck while greeting supporters in the city of Lomas. They say supporters. I think he was just greeting people. Because people are there doesn't mean they're supporters. In the city of Lomas de Zomara, 20 kilometers south of the capital, when people began throwing plants, rocks, and bottles at his vehicle. Yeah, it wasn't just rocks. It was everything they could get their hands on. You're not popular here. Go away. The elections are cast as a test of Milei's popularity and performance 2 years after the libertarian TV pundit was elected in the bid to eliminate the country's chronic fiscal deficits and end spiraling inflation. Of course, a libertarian in the United States is basically a racist who wants to smoke weed. That's my definition of a American libertarian. I don't know what they call them in other countries, but it's basically, just your conservative right-wing fascist who wants to smoke weed. He doesn't care about anything else. Liberty for me, not for everybody else, is what libertarian America is. The caravan was carrying the president and his sister, Karina Milei, along with other officials, then quickly left the scene. Let's bring my whole family along to this event, huh? I suppose. Out with Milei! Protesters shouted. Milei ducked inside the vehicle. The security guard scrambled to shield him from rocks. No word if he lost a piece of his ear. That grew back later. None of that, maybe. Scuffles subsequently broke out between supporters and opponents of the libertarian leader. A woman who was supporting Milei suffered rib injuries. She was taken away by ambulance. Rib injuries. Probably fell down, cracked a rib. Minutes before the incident, the president had addressed a scandal sparked following the leak of audio recordings by the former head of the disability agency, Diego Spagnuolo. In the recording, Spagnuolo suggests that Karina Milei pocketed money destined for people with disabilities. Karina, the sister, I believe, of the president.
What a scum.
So, sister stealing money, but we no confirmation of that, but I don't know. Seems like it's possible. Where's your segue? That's my story.
My segue is... Bonka asked, how is he a fascist because he doesn't care about anything? Well, he doesn't care about anything but himself. So that's why he's a fascist. Just whatever he can get. Well, he's
not necessarily...
for himself.
Fascists have the easy answers. That's the answer to your question. If somebody is proposing an easy answer, here's an easy answer, they're fascists. Because there's no easy answers. Just like there's no free lunch, there's no easy answers. All answers are hard, and everybody tells you they're easy, they're not very smart. These smart people know how smart they are. They don't pretend they're smart when they're really not. Okay? All right. And the next story, was your non sequitur?
Yeah, that's my non sequitur.
All right then, North Darfur capital reels. This is horrible news. Again, apartheid Clyde took control of our government and cut U.S. aid. Or we'd probably be sending food to these people in Sudan, but there is no food because it's just rotting on pallets in some seaport somewhere in Africa. Yay, capitalism, we suck. And this is from debangasudan.org. AMB says that AMB is the author. I don't know if it's initials or it's an acronym or it's short for ambulatory. I don't know. Reports indicate that paramilitary rapid support forces, or RSF, attacked North Darfur capital Bel Fasher, bombarding residential areas and camps for displaced people as warnings of famine and ethnic cleansing mounted in the past 2 days. Residents told Radio Dabanga the RSF renewed artillery shelling on Abu Sok camping. Bombing a refugee camp. Oh, we're so brave. On Saturday, RSF units launched another offensive in the city's southern accents, which was the Joint Force claimed it repelled. The Joint Force is trying to defeat the RSF. And of course, they're fighting. And of course, the people in the middle don't have anything, are the ones that are paying the price. They're going to either going to ask you to join the military, or they're going to steal your children and do what they want to with them, right? The Sudan Doctors Network accused the RSF of striking a hospital in southern El Fasher, wounding 7 people, including a nurse. RSF commanders in turn released footage boasting of captured medical supplies from both the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Joint Force. Oh yeah, we captured medical supplies. We're so brave. Cowards. Abu Shauk's emergency room reported that RSF fighters stormed the camp, abducting 8 women and bringing the number of those missing to 20. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, confirmed the displacement of 1,000 people from Abu Shauk over 2 days last week, with families fleeing deeper into the El Fasher locality. The RSF circulated videos claiming control over the parts of the camp, while the El Fasher resistance committees warned that the paramilitaries had penetrated Abu Shauk. Radio Dabanga could not verify those claims due to the communications blackout reliance on the RSF-controlled satellite internet. The El Fasher Resistance Committee warned the city council could fall without urgent intervention. In a statement yesterday, they said El Fasher had endured more than 220 armed attacks during 2 years of siege, leaving the residents exhausted by fighting, hunger, and disease. They cautioned against relying solely on El Fasher's supposed resilience, pointing to the fate of South Darfur's capital of Nyala, which fell under similar circumstances, adding that history would not forgive failures or silence in the face of the city's suffering. The Sudan Doctors Network accused RSF fighters of executing 13 people along ethnic lines near the Gallo Water Reservoir, west of El Fasher Tawila Road. Victims reportedly included 5 children, 4 women, and 4 elderly men and women. Oh, the most dangerous citizens there, right? Children and old men. Oh, they're so dangerous. Yeah. Again, cowards do shit like this. Cowards.
100%.
People that could not fight you. If you were in a fight with them, they would cheat as much as possible. They can't do anything on the level. They got to cheat. They got to run roughshod over the weak because, oh, I'm a big man. Nope, they're cowards. The lowest form of life there is. The UN Human Rights Office spokesperson Jeremy Lawrence, OHCHR, said 89 civilians were killed in RSF attacks on El Fasher over 10 days. Lawrence confirmed evidence of 16 executions of displaced people from Abu Shauk. The pattern of attacks on civilians and murder, which constitute grave violations of international humanitarian law, deepens our concerns about racially motivated violence, Lawrence said. He warned of famine risk and urged all parties to protect civilians. The RSF has consistently denied targeting civilians. You stole medical supplies and put it a camera, film of it. Yeah, we're not targeting civilians. We're just stealing medical supplies. Whoa, yeah, you're totally innocent. Radio Dabanga was unable to obtain an immediate response from the group. A group of cowards, what do you expect? Sudan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs welcomed the UN condemnation of attacks on Abu Shauk camp and ethnically motivated killings. It urged the UN to move beyond words to urgent and deterrent measures against RSF, including implementation of Security Council resolutions lifting the El Fasher siege and formally designated the RSF as a terrorist organization. We are very tired. Inside the besieged city of El Fasher, residents issued urgent appeals for humanitarian aid. We are in camps, shelters, and neighborhoods of El Fasher. Children suffer from hunger and malnutrition to a degree as difficult to describe, said Suad Suleiman Mohamed Khalil. Even the elderly suffer from hunger. What? Of course they would. I don't understand the even nonsense of it. Of course.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone suffers from hunger.
People have stopped eating. Yeah, old people stopped eating. They don't need any food anymore. What kind of nonsense is that? Anyway, medical care has collapsed, immunity is broken, and children and pregnant women are in desperate condition. We urgently need aid to save the remaining citizens of El Fasher. Displaced woman Ala and El Nazir Adam Mohammed described a dire situation. We are present in exceptionally large numbers in the city, but we can not find anything to eat. Even the animal feed we once relied on is gone. Maybe eat the animals. Probably ate the animals by now. Children suffer severe malnutrition. Anemia is widespread and elderly are in crisis. We cannot leave. We appeal to organizations and the government to save us. Another resident, Hamid Ibrahim Omar, added, we are very tired. Even the animal feed has become expensive and unavailable. People look at us with mercy. There's your story while we binge watch crap about Gaza and that situation, which will never be solved. We have a situation, a humanitarian crisis that has been going on for 500 days, and the major news media ignores it. I wonder why. What could it be? I don't know. Maybe you can solve this puzzle for me, because I'm a little confused. Could it be, I don't know, racism? Possibly.
It really,
maybe just a little bit tinge of we don't give a fuck about Africa. How about that?
Yeah.
Why don't we just say it? Come on, say it. Just come out and say it. All right.
Very inconvenient truth here, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaza has white people involved, so of course, like Israelis, a lot of Israelis are
Netanyahu's white.
Yeah, so
Netanyahu's a white European.
And that's the only reason we've been hearing about the genocide there is because white people are genociding brown people. I guess. Even though there's plenty of white Palestinians and there's plenty of brown Israelis, right? Sadly, we've racialized it and painted it that way. And what's happening in Sudan?
Find out.
Brown people fighting amongst each other, so none of our business, right?
Oh, they're not only brown, they're black. Like they're black. They're dark black. God, they're so black you can't care about them.
I consider that there are only two sides. People who are racialized and people who aren't. And to be fair, white people are also racialized. You know, you eat mayonnaise or whatever. But what
do they call it? The soft racism of lowered expectations.
Yeah, there are definitely.
All we care about is you care about this. As long as you care about it. If you're ignoring it, you're not caring about it. If you're reporting other humanitarian crises in the world and not caring about this one, you're doing that what you say you are, lowering the expectations that anybody's ever going to care about
100%.
people. Right. Yeah, we don't care enough. We just don't care enough. Oh, those are those poor people on those commercials late at night. I'll send them some money. No, it's not that. It's not about money. It's about stabilizing their government, which we seem to care about way more in other parts of the world. Anyway, there's the
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's because it's brown people against each other that none of our business. It's just Africans being African. Such a typical thing.
Right.
You know, white people fight each other all the time, but I mean, what is Russia and Ukraine but white people fighting each other, right?
I am related by blood to more people in Africa than more people in Israel. Than anybody in Asia at all. I am related by blood. I mean, African blood is not undeniable. It's in my DNA, right? So I am related by blood to Africa way more than I am to anybody in Turkey or, India or Bangladesh, any of these countries, what is it, India and Pakistan. I'm not related at all to those people, but I'm related to Africa. Why don't we do something for Africa? Those are my people. All right. Sorry.
Okay.
Just saying. I don't look black. That doesn't mean I don't have African blood. Sorry.
I already mentioned this before, but there's actually more genetic diversity in Africa than you and a Polish person, or you and somebody from.
Correct. We're not going to get into the old debate.
Alliteration headline. You almost got limerick again. That would have been shocking.
I still have to write it down though. Okay.
Okay, my next stories. We've got two stories here. The first one is.
And I did send you a video already, by the way.
All right, thank you. The first one's coming out of Switzerland. Right. There is a protest occurring in Switzerland due to a youth on a scooter being chased down police and then beaten. I think they were.
Wow.
Yeah, they were probably beaten to death. We'll read the whole story. Police killed a 17-year-old boy on a scooter, and you should be angry about it. No police officer should be committing execution. That's not their job. This is by Leah Lebestard on Liberation. A 17-year-old boy was killed during a chase last Saturday, that was the 26th? Oh, 23rd, sorry. 23rd of August. Dozens of young people from Lausanne neighborhoods clashed with police over the next 2 nights. On the night of Saturday 23rd to Sunday 24th August, a 17-year-old boy died in Lausanne, Switzerland, after losing control of his scooter during a chase with the police. Okay, so they didn't kill anybody, but they just chased him and then he crashed. The tragedy provoked a strong reaction in his home neighborhood of Riots, where altercations broke out between young people and the police. Around 3:45 a.m. on Sunday, which was the 24th of August, the young scooter rider reportedly fled on his two-wheeler before crashing into a garage. At the sight of the police vehicle, the scooter rider fled at high speed, the Volcano police said late that afternoon. Despite initial assistance from the authorities and the intervention of emergency services, the 17-year-old boy succumbed to his injuries. According to the initial investigations carried out by specialist gendarme of the traffic unit, and according to the interviews of the various witnesses and officers involved, the young scooter rider lost control of his two-wheeler while traveling at high speed when passing a speed bump on a street with a speed limit of 30 kilometers an hour, the police statement said. The police initially indicated that the boy was traveling the wrong way. Before quickly changing their minds on Monday. Okay, so they said, he was going the wrong way. But then on Monday they said, in the area of the accident, traffic is possible in both directions. The scooter rider was therefore not traveling the wrong way. We apologize for this error. It was his fault that he died. Oh, in a way it is, because he was driving the scooter, but an investigation has been opened by the Vaud Police Prosecutor's Office. Anger erupted that same Sunday evening on the 25th of August in Prelas. Around 100 youths, mostly wearing balaclavas, erected burning brigades and set fire to several trash cans and containers. The burned out area bears numerous inscriptions demanding justice for the deceased rider. They were young people from the neighborhood. They grew up together. They often meet up to play ball. They all know each other. The local resident explained in the columns of the Swiss media Watson. On June 30th, a 14-year-old girl was already killed in Lausanne after losing control of her motorcycle while also trying to escape the police. So
maybe there's
I'm trying to understand this.
What's going to happen if the police catch you? They give you a ticket?
Yeah.
Oh no, I better get away.
Yeah. You're playing the devil's advocate here, or maybe that's what your actual opinion is. But I see that point of view, right? Why were these 17, 14-year-olds on scooters driving so recklessly that they got into a accident and then later died, right? Why was that happening? But also, what are we supposed to do here? What is the solution, right? I think it's okay that they're protesting this, making barricades and setting fires, whatever. But what are they asking to be changed? Don't chase people on scooters? Stop chasing children on scooters? I don't know what they want, I guess, is my...
I'm anti-high-speed chase myself, because I don't think they accomplish anything.
No, it doesn't. It's an escalation for sure.
Yeah. The police have radios and they have cameras. What else do they need, right? And you got the guy's license number. You catch them in the act. Mm-hmm. You want to catch them in the act so you can beat them up. I guess that's the only motivation. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. The idea that the police are chasing teenagers on scooters because they think they're up to no good, but they don't know they're up to no good, is a worrying point of view from police officers. During the night from the 26th to the 27th of August, the clashes intensified despite the appeal for calm launched by the family of the deceased youth. Between 150 and 200 people clashed with police in several neighborhoods. Faced again with the aggression of the rioters, better prepared as just as determined as the day before, the police had to use coercive measures, said the Lausanne police. The youths alleged threw rocks and construction barriers, mortars, Molotov cocktails, and pyrotechnic devices. The press release stated, in response, police fired 54 tear gas grenades, which is chemical warfare, rubber bullets, which are not meant to actually be shot at people, and deployed a water cannon, which is also all the things that all globally that we do to try to quell rebellion is just inhumane.
He's on a scooter.
You know what? Would we really stop the rioters from rioting? Ignoring them. Just ignoring them.
They wouldn't riot if he just said, the police show up and go, we're gonna intensify this. We're gonna escalate it. Or, well, another thing that happens at protests is agent provocateurs show up. They just want to get that goop in trouble. That happens at every protest.
But if there's no police officers there to escalate, then it will just peter out, you know.
The businesses call them. It isn't their fault. The businesses.
I'm scared. They're gonna. Why don't you go talk to them and ask them, please don't
torch they're gonna steal my merchandise. If I had a business, I would do that. I got to tell you the truth. If people were gathered outside my freaking business, I'm calling the cops. I want the cops, because the insurance company will say, "Why didn't you call the cops?" I didn't think it'd make any difference. Okay, we're not going to pay. Oh shit! No,
it didn't make any difference, and I called the cops, and they made it worse. Actually,
that's what they say when you have something stolen. I had something stolen. Did you call the cops? No. Okay, we're not going to cover it. Okay, so yeah. That's why the cops get called, at least in America. Yeah. I don't know, but every insurance company's got to be the same. Swiss invented this shit. They got to be the same way, right?
Probably. In the Beauvarest neighborhood, a bus was also damaged, but the altercations were shorter. A total of 7 people arrested. No injuries have been reported at this stage, according to authorities. So they're not going to say, yeah, we threw some tear gas at somebody and broke their head open. They're not going to admit that they did anything. The authorities are going to report, we beat a couple hundred of teenagers back over there in Lausanne successfully.
Just a clue. Anybody who wants to outrun the police, you can't outrun their radio. Yeah. So don't even try. They're just going to radio head to somebody at the general direction you're heading and say, hey, there's a scooter coming your way. Anyway, I mean, the kid was aching to do something stupid. Maybe, thankfully, he didn't kill anybody else. That's the kind of way I go with that. Because just pull over. The cops aren't going to kill you, probably. You know. Meanwhile, you're a danger to other people just minding their own business. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, those are my 2 stories. You have that's my first story. Do you have an alliteration?
Oh yeah. Yes, a Swiss scooterist, I looked this up, it is a word, a scooterist is a motorist that rides a scooter. A Swiss scooterist of 17 slams skull severely. It's accurate. Not pretty, but accurate. There you go.
No, I don't think it was pretty.
Aww. No.
Next story is about... What was it about? What was my next story about? Japan! Japan has released a volcanic eruption AI image in order to get people ready for the possibility of a explosive eruption from Mount Fuji. Japan lies on the so-called Ring of Fire. This is on Der Spiegel. Japan lies on the so-called Ring of Fire, an area of intense seismic and volcanic activity on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. Violent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur repeatedly, such as in January when a massive ash cloud rose from Sakurajima Volcano in Kagoshima Prefecture. To raise awareness of the dangers of such natural events, the Japanese government has now released an AI-generated video simulating an eruption of Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is the country's highest and for many most sacred mountain and holds iconic significance. It's also only 150 kilometers southwest of Tokyo, which is one of the largest cities in the world. The impact of the eruption on the capital's approximately 20 million residents could be significant. A massive plume of smoke would rise, ash would rain from the sky, landslides, floods, power outages, supply shortages would occur. According to a simulation released on Sunday the 25th by Tokyo Metropolitan Government's Disaster Management Department, which was reported on by the broadcaster CNN, among others. The AI video shows a woman on a busy street suddenly receiving an eruption on her phone. The moment can come without warning, says a voiceover. Being dramatic, images of plume of smoke above Mount Fuji fade in. According to government figures, a large-scale eruption would produce an estimated 1.7 billion cubic meters of volcanic ash. You don't want to be buried under that. Of this, approximately 490 million cubic meters are expected to accumulate on roads, buildings, and land. Piled up ash could cause wooden buildings with low bearing capacity to collapse. Warning. In fact, there are currently no signs of an imminent eruption of Mount Fuji, which is an active volcano. Moreover, the last eruption was quite some time ago. It occurred 318 years ago. None of us were alive for that. Nevertheless, the Cabinet Office released another simulation video on Tuesday, urging people to imagine concrete scenarios in order to be better prepared. The government had already issued guidelines for adequate emergency stockpiling in March. I think they know something we don't, huh? Like it's gonna come in 10 years, 50 years, but we need to make sure that the people alive now who might have to actually be affected by this eruption know what to do when it does happen. Authorities have intensified their warning tone over the past year, partly because fears of a major earthquake are growing. The probability of a severe earthquake in the southern Nankai Trench has reportedly increased. However, not all seismologists agree with such predictions. Some call the actions of the Japanese authorities alarmist. Warning videos and scaremongering are also deterring tourists. Well, that's what Japan wants anyways. Maybe they finally figured it out. We finally can get rid of all those tourists. Japan. Just tell them there's about to be a volcanic eruption and they'll leave us alone.
I would immigrate to Japan if they let more white people in.
Well, you can immigrate there, but you have to have like a digital workers visa, which is basically I need to be a profession and I need to be in my 30s. I don't think they're going to take old people in retirement. Although I will contribute to their economy by spending, I think. Well, wait, that's what I'm trying to say.
I'll immigrate to any country.
That's what I'm trying to say. If you have a job that you can do without being physically there, basically like a at-home work from home job, you can migrate to Japan because they accept something called a digital nomad visa, which is you have a job, you have an income, and you don't need to be anywhere. You can work on the internet, and then you can live in Japan. A lot of people do that, actually. I could do that because I'm a YouTuber.
Right, and I want to have one of them world travel visas. I want to be able to travel to China, too. I want to be everywhere. Okay, sorry.
No, that's it. Give me your alliteration.
All right, it's a short one. It says, where is it? Future Fuji flares foreboding. There you go.
Uh-oh.
I was going down to Japan. There's not a lot of words that go with J. I probably could have gone with that, but well, I made my choice. Next story, we're going to do the list.
Yep, we're going our list. Let me roll my segue.
All right.
And it's going to be...
Okay, this one is going to go...
I'm going to roll again because it's non sequitur. I'm not doing another one of those. That's boring.
Okay.
Mixed metaphor. Yeah, my favorite. All right, take us away to our list.
Mixed metaphor.
Football films.
There's a lot of football metaphors. You can use touchdowns and field goals and tight ends, everything, right? Anyway, this is the list. Football season, NFL season is just starting next week. College season's already started. A few games on the books. And so it's that time of the year we go. And if you don't like football, maybe you're going to understand why it is played by watching some movies. And again, I'll say this about American football. It is simulating war, and it keeps us out of wars. This violent game where people can just basically be killed on the field is a substitute for war. And some of these movies, and this is not all inclusive, there's some I had to leave off, are actually pretty good movies, but I had ran out of list. So here's 13 football movies in no particular order other than the order I remembered them in. So so the first one is called Legend in Granite, which was a TV movie on ABC about Vince Lombardi, a famous legendary coach who the Super Bowl trophy's named after. One note I just had to look up earlier today. The New York Giants named Russell Wilson their starting quarterback for this season. Why is that significant? Because the New York Giants became the last NFL team to name a black quarterback as their starter for the season. New York was the last team, right? Not some podunk little town somewhere. New York City Giants were the last team to name a black quarterback. Isn't that interesting? So all teams now have had a black quarterback starting. We can put that to rest. Okay, that's never have to be brought up again. Interesting, because that's where Vince Lombardi started his career in professional football as a assistant, the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. And he was one of the most active in the 1960s as far as desegregating the NFL. And Little Green Bay, Wisconsin was one of the most active cities in desegregating the NFL. There were only 3 real teams that did hire a large portion of black players. Those were the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and of course the who else hired a whole bunch of I'll get to it in a minute. Of course, the AFL was the other one. The AFL was the one that hired a bunch of black players. The other team I'll get to in a minute. But this is a movie about Vince Lombardi, not necessarily about segregation, and about his arrival in Green Bay. And they were the smallest town in the NFL, and they just didn't win. They lost a lot. He got there, the 1-win team, and in 2 years, Vince Lombardi had them in the NFL championship game where they lost to the Eagles, but Vince Lombardi never lost another playoff game in the rest of his life. He won every playoff game after that, including 5 championships in 7 years. The 2 years he didn't make it, they didn't make the playoffs. Even though they were a winning team, they didn't make the playoffs, and that was probably because of the NFL draft. The movie itself stars Ernest Borgnine as Vince Lombardi. It does not cover his death. Vince Lombardi died in 1970 of cancer at the age of 57. And it basically just covers his time with the Packers and when he quit the Packers to go to the Redskins. And it kind of ends there, even though the movie was made 3 years after he died. So
yeah, they're like,
we don't get the syrupy.
He lived happily ever after and nothing ever happened.
Yeah, minus the syrupy deathbed scenes. It's still a pretty good movie for a TV movie. It's kind of hackneyed. It's got some great stuff in it. But anyway, that's one of my earliest memories of football movies. My next earliest memory, and this one was made before, was and it does have the syrupy deathbed ending because it involves somebody dying of cancer. It's called Brian's Song, and it stars James Caan and Billy D. Williams. James Caan as Brian Piccolo, Billy D. Williams as Hall of Fame running back Gale Sayers. James Caan, Brian Piccolo died of cancer while he was very young, in his late 20s. And James Caan and Billy D. Williams play roommates, the first black and white roommates, as the movie contends, in the history of the NFL. And when Billy D. Williams, Mr. Gale Sayers, tore up his knee, Brian Piccolo was asserted as a starter, and he had a great season. And in Gale Sayers' absence, Gale Sayers came back. It's a great story. It's a great story about friendship. It's more about friendship than it is about football, and it'll make you cry. So, Brian's Song is our second one. Our number 3 on our list, not in any particular order, is The Longest Yard, starring Burt Reynolds. Adam Sandler did a remake of it, but it doesn't touch the original. I'm sorry. If you're a big Adam Sandler fan, that's cool, but Burt Reynolds, the original one, which featured Ray Nitschke, Green Bay Packer Ray Nitschke, is one of the prison guards. Burt Reynolds goes to jail, and the longest yard does not refer to a yard on a football field. It refers to the prison yard. So there's your play on words. The longest yard, Burt Reynolds eventually, he's a former football star, gets thrown in prison for some trumped up charges, and he organizes a game against the guards where they actually kill one of the guards during the game, which, yay, we killed somebody. I don't know. So, yeah. Actually, Ray Nitschke is the guy they end up killing. He's the baddest prison guard, and everybody hates him. So there's your little spoiler from The Longest Yard. That was in the 1970s. Number 4, you might remember this one. This one stars Denzel Washington. It's called Remember the Titans. It's about Longest Yard's fictional. The first 2 are real events. Number 4 is also a real event. The Alexandria, Virginia football team desegregated. A lot of this is about desegregation, amazingly, right? Remember the Titans is a football team, which is the first white and black combined football team in Virginia, right? So you're going to get all the racist tropes. You're going to get all the good guy, bad guy stuff.
Yeah. Still
a good movie because Denzel's in it. And it's actually a very good movie. Very uplifting. Hey, we can get through anything. We just work together. We have more in common than we do with differences. Don't you get it? Right? We're all the same team. We're all working for the same goals. So it's all about desegregation. Number 5, and you know this actor. This is the movie called Rudy. Rudy's about basically the smallest guy to ever play for Notre Dame football, college football. And he's about 5'1", about 107 pounds, and I want to be on the team. And I won't spoil you to let you know whether he got to play or not, because that would ruin the movie, wouldn't it? But it stars Sean Astin, as you know very well. Actor Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings. So he's a football player in this one. So Sean Astin, Samwise playing Rudy as a football, basically the manager, I would say, more than the player, because he was too small. They were afraid he was going to break if he ran out there. So if you want to watch an inspiring guy overcoming, just staying with his dream, even though he's never going to be a pro, he's never going to make money at this, he just wants to go down and hit somebody. That's all he wants out of life. So Rudy is our number 5. Number 6 is We Are Marshall, starring, all right, Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is the head coach of Marshall University. The entire football team, almost the entire football team, was killed in a plane crash. And Matthew McConaughey becomes the football coach the following season and tries to start a team from scratch. And you know that they're not going to be any good. They're not going to win any games. But it's an inspirational movie about, well, Matthew McConaughey. You like him, you like the movie. It's a good movie. It is a good movie. It's a real story. Number 7, North Dallas 40, again, is Hollywood taking a book written by Peter Gent, former wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys, and it's called North Dallas 40. It stars Nick Nolte and Mac Davis. Nick Nolte plays the Peter Gent character, a old wide receiver trying to hold on for one last season, basically shooting up with all kinds of medication so he can get on the field. His body's falling apart. Everybody's shooting up with medication to keep themselves ready for the game. And it's the Dallas Cowboys basically disavowed this movie, saying none of that stuff happened. But you know it happened, because why would he lie? Was he trying to get even with the Cowboys? I don't think so. So it's a real life depiction of actual NFL football and the awful lives these athletes do lead. It's filled with pain, and it never really goes away when they retire. Like, as you know, the CTE debate is a lot of these people end up with no marbles at all by the time they're 40, which is tragic. Number 8, The Replacement, starring Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman, the late, great Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman, of course, plays a coach, which he's a coach guy. You can always picture Gene Hackman as a coach. And Keanu Reeves as the quarterback of a strike replacement. Yeah, the scab quarterback. Yeah, I'm a scab. Woohoo, I'm replacing the quarterback that's on strike. And Keanu Reeves in a starring role as a quarterback for the movie, I guess. And again, you can watch the movie, see if they win the big game or lose the big game, but it's all kind of incidental to the storyline that runs through it.
That's Demi Gorge's favorite one, supposedly. Replacements,
there you go. Watch it again! Because Gene Hackman just passed away, and you got to appreciate him for sure. And I'm sure you already do appreciate Keanu Reeves. Number 9 is Heaven Can Wait, starring Warren Beatty. This one's a really good movie. Like, a good movie. And Joe Pendleton is a character played by Warren Beatty, a quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, is killed in an auto accident. In the afterlife, Joe discovers that his guardian angel, Buck Henry, has taken him from his body prematurely. So somebody in heaven screwed up, hence the title, Heaven Can Wait. And he is due many more years on Earth, unable to return to his body, which is beat up in a traffic accident. Joe assumes the form of a greedy multimillionaire industrial Leo Farnsworth, who apparently had no soul previously, right? As Farnsworth, Joe attempts to return to football and falls in love with environmental activist Betty Logan, played by Julie Christie. So a rich guy who's probably despoiling the environment, falls for an environmental activist who hates him. But she doesn't know he's the reincarnated football player who does not want to be a millionaire anymore, multimillionaire. He just wants to play football. Well, it's a great movie, actually. So I've watched it since it first came out. But yeah, Heaven Can Wait. Watch that one. Number 10, Invincible, starring Mark Wahlberg and Elizabeth Banks. Invincible is a true story of... Oh boy, I think of his name. Can't think of his name. God, I hate this. I know his name this morning. It's Vince Papula, I think that's there. It's Vince something or other. Vince Papula. I'll correct it in a minute. It's Vince something or other, who is a tryout player. Yeah, maybe you can look it up. Invincible, Vince something. Anyway, it's a play on the name Vince, right? Invincible. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
I want to say Vince Papula, Vince something.
Vince Papale. Almond looked it up for you.
Vince Papali. Vince Papali. That's his name. Papali. Anyway, it's Italian. Vince Papali. So Invincible is the story of Mark Wahlberg, a guy who a lot of teams have this. They have tryout camps. I dream of being NFL, and 50 guys show up, and 80% of them completely out of shape. Few of them have a little bit of talent. They cut it down to about 10, and they get 5, and they get maybe one guy that makes that tryout camp, some nobody. And this guy made it. He made the team out of training camp and became a special teams ace. A guy just runs down and hits people. The same thing Rudy wanted to be. But this guy lived it in the NFL, not at college. He got paid for it. So great movie. Mark Wahlberg as Vince. Number 11 is Friday Night Lights. Everybody knows this one. Number 11, I'm sorry. Friday Night Lights. Billy Bob Thornton as the coach. It's turned into a TV series later. And it's about a little town in Texas called Odessa, which is on the Permian Basin. The fictional high school is called Permian High School. And it's one of these towns in West Texas, Midland, Odessa, Big Springs, that area. High school football rules it. High school football, everybody in these towns, I'm not exaggerating, lives for the Friday night football game. That's all they care about. They go to war over these. These towns go to war over players just to get a player from, say, Dallas to come to Permian Basin to Midland to play. They'll pay the parents. They'll pay the parents money to move there, give them a job at the school until their kids are old enough to graduate, or if they got more than one kid, it's even better, right? So the incredible life of high school football in West Texas cannot be overemphasized. How insane these people are about high school. High school. These are children playing. Okay, that's my little thing on Friday Night Lights. If you haven't seen it, you want to watch a bunch of crazy people in Texas, there's your movie. Number 12 is The Program, also starring James Caan. We had James Caan in the other one, right? In the Brian song where he played Brian Piccolo. And now he's an older guy in The Program, which is about college football and how they basically have no morals. They have no morals. Winning is the only thing. Getting that coveted recruit is the only thing. In some cases, they don't even care about winning. Hey, we got that 5-star recruit. We only had to bribe his parents. We only had to hook him up with hookers every day this week, but we got him. That kind of thing. The Program shows you all of the mental gymnastics people go through to justify what they're actually doing, which is most of it illegal. Prostitution, paying people, drugs, the whole thing. We get you what you want, kid. Just come to our college so I get a big fat bonus and I move on to another college with a better job. Ha ha. And by the way, you're never going to be in the pros, but at least we ruined your life, huh? Anyway, The Program, very, very revealing. And number 13, you've probably heard this one, Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire starring Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooding Jr., Renee Zellweger. You've probably heard quotes for it, right? Quotes from Jerry Maguire like, "Show me the money" is the number one. Show me the money. Show me the money. That's the number one. There's also, "You had me at a low." That one's a good one from Renee Zellweger. What's the other one? There's a couple other ones, but hey, Jerry Maguire is an agent.
Very famous
and Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is his main client. He has no clients, by the way. He quits a big agent firm. If you know these big agent firms, they're all over. They're ruining sports for the most part. They're getting. They're not ruining the players' lives. They're there for the players. They could give a shit about the sport. They could give a shit about the owners. They could give a shit about the city that the players play in. They care about their clients. End of the shit they care about. Their clients. Because the clients can make more money, they make more money. It doesn't matter what the team does. They don't care. Again, these are rich owners. They got money to spare. They can spend the money. Who are they trying to kid? So Jerry Maguire quits this firm, tries to take any athletes with him. He can't take any athletes. He has one one person, and that's Cuba Gooding Jr., who is a star wide receiver who wants more money. And eventually, you got to watch the movie. It's actually a pretty good movie. I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise fan in the world, but it has some really good acting in it. And there's your list of all 13 that I could come up with without running out of numbers in football movies. And congratulations to the New York Giants for joining the 20th century.
Perfect.
The New York
All
Giants.
right. I think we're going to be able to catch all of these.
Okay.
In your local high school, probably.
Is that your non sequitur? I mean your segue?
My bad pun. We're gonna catch all of them.
Your bad pun, yeah.
You know, in
I
the
got
fourth
you.
quarter.
I got it.
All right, let's roll the wheel for my culture segment here. I think I've seen more hockey films for some reason than actual NFL.
I want all hip hop.
I wonder why that is.
All right, next story. I guess
it was a good list. You had a good list there. Playing into Houston, I've never seen so many footballs. Flying into Houston. He's never seen so many football stadiums. There you go.
Wow, yeah. And that's just Central Texas, or that's actually East Texas, Southeast Texas. West Texas is where you find the real maniacs, out by the oil fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, your segue reminds me of a song. And we're going to talk about the Van Gogh Museum. Uh-oh, what's happening? It looks like it's losing. It's at risk of closure if the Dutch state does not meet a 2.5 million euro funding.
What's my spin? I gotta write it down.
Reminds me of a song.
Okay.
This is by Theo Ferrant. The museum is requesting the government provide an extra 2.5 million annually to cover essential upgrades and sustainability measures, stressing that this isn't just financial support, but a contractual obligation. Amsterdam's Van Gogh Museum, home to the world's largest collections of work by Vincent van Gogh, has issued an extraordinary warning. Without fresh government funding, it may be forced to shut its doors. The museum says a shortfall in state support threatens a 104 million euro renovation plan, and with it the safety of paintings, the well-being of visitors, and the future of one of the Netherlands' most visited cultural landmarks. Just don't have the renovations. Are the renovations required, or are you just you know what, I feel like changing it up a little bit? If this situation persists, it will be dangerous for art and dangerous for our visitors. Emil Gordenker, the museum's director, told the New York Times, "This is the last thing we want, but if it comes to that, we have to close the building." Maybe they just have a leaky roof. They have to get a roof fixed. The conflict dates back to the genesis of the museum. After Van Gogh's death, his nephew, B.W. Van Gogh, known in the documents as the engineer, placed the family collection into a foundation in 1962, on the condition that the Dutch state create and maintain a museum, keeping the art together and accessible to the public. When the Van Gogh Museum opened in 1973, the promise seemed secure. What followed was nearly half a century of extraordinary public interest. Since opening the museum has welcomed almost 57 million in total. Numbers peaked at about 2.6 million in 2017. In recent years, the museum has continued to attract large audiences, reporting roughly 1.8 million visitors in 2024, making it Amsterdam's second most museum visited after the Rijksmuseum, which is their national museum with way more artists, and it's not just one guy. In the spring this year, it staged a landmark joint exhibition with the Stedelijk Museum of the work of Anselm Kiefer, a show titled Where Have All the Flowers Gone?, that placed the German painter's monumental canvases and installations in dialogue with Van Gogh's legacy. Later in the year, parts of the program traveled to London's Royal Academy, where they remain on display. But running a successful museum comes at a cost. The building has coped with those crowds since the early 1970s, and its age is showing. Ventilation and climate control systems are past their useful life. Safety, accessibility, and sustainability standards have moved on. and new legal obligations on public buildings require costly upgrades. Aha! So there we go. Into the meat of why they need that money. Van Gogh Museum has therefore drawn up a master plan of 28, a 3-year program of essential maintenance, technical replacement, and sustainability work budgeted at 104 million euros. The museum says it can cover parts of the project from the reserves by shouldering the lost revenue from partial closures, but argues it needs an annual guaranteed state contribution of about 11 million euros to finance the work and to build a long-term maintenance reserve. The ministry currently offers 8.5 million a year, leaving an annual shortfall of 2.5 million. So they're almost there. Maybe they should start funding crowdfunding, you know. Help us renovate the museum so these paintings are lost forever. Vincent Van Gogh Museum Foundation, which legally owns the collection, has supported the museum's line, noting that the original 1962 contract places an obligation on the state to provide them and maintain suitable housing for the works. So, haha, they've got the government there with their contracts, and Dutch people love their contracts. So, we'll see what happens. But I think you don't need to worry for now, right? You can definitely still go to the museum at least for 3 years, and then if they can't do their maintenance, they're probably going to shut down because they can't take care of the paintings anymore. But for now, Van Gogh Museum is still open, but I guess put some pressure on the Dutch state to meet their 2.5 million funding shortfall, as the headline says. Give me a
all right. Vincent Van Gogh reminds me of 2 songs. The first one is Vincent by Don McLean, which is all about it. Yeah, right. Starry Night is the subtitle for it. And his other one is Bye Bye Love by the Cars, which I recently, within the last year, learned was about Van Gogh. And I did a Google search on it. It says, that song really about Van Gogh? And Google AI said, no, it's not. There's no connection between the two. But then you just look in other articles and it says, oh yeah, Rick Ocasek wrote that about Van Gogh. And he admitted it. He said he did.
Yeah.
So it's got songs like, and I had to find some references to clarify it. This is an ode to Vincent Van Gogh. It's such a wavy midnight, you slip into insane, is a reference to Starry Night. Starry Night is painted during his stay at an asylum at Saint Remy. It's an orangey sky is a reference to Olive Grove Orange Sky, which is another one of his paintings. Always It's Some Other Guy is a reference to Sian Holmick, a pregnant prostitute and mother of a child born out of wedlock, with whom Van Gogh had a romantic relationship. He cut off his ear because of her. Lullaby is a reference to the La Berceuse painting series of Augustin Rollin. Bye Bye Love is a title of the song, is a reference to Van Gogh's suicide. Yeah. And yes, Van Gogh had blue eyes, mass confusion, and was intensely illustrious. Illustrious means you illustrate things quite vividly, right? That's all it means.
As a non-realism artist, he definitely is an abstract artist. He was definitely doing that.
I use this as an example of don't trust Google AI or your search engines anymore because it gets shit wrong all the time. I got that wrong. There's my segue time to do this way.
All right, we roll the wheel and then we'll do our This Day in History.
New feature This Way. Okay. What's the This Way in History?
I'll get you 3 haikus for you.
3 haikus from This Way in History, because we changed the name of it now. History this way. No, I'm just kidding. It's This Day in History. 476, which is, good Lord, long time ago. The fall of the Western Roman Empire was completed as Emperor Romulus Augustulus was deposed by the German warrior Odoacer. Odoacer? Maybe that's where audacity comes from. He had the audacity to take on the Roman Empire. Yeah! In 1793, the siege of Toulon in the French Revolutionary Wars began. This started the French Revolution. Woohoo! Woohoo! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's get rid of them aristocrats. 1850, Richard Wagner's opera Lohengrin was performed for the first time in Weimar, Germany. The first time. Not the second.
Germany.
Yeah, Wagner, the famous soundtrack for the Nazis. 1914, the first major engagement of the British and German navies during World War I occurred at the Battle of Helgoland Bight. Helgoland Bight. That's B-I-G-H-T, Bight. And it was a very biting, a biting victory.
I believe in you.
1938, Liberal politician Paul Martin was born. I got to find out what he did first because they have a lot of stuff in between. Who as Prime Minister of Canada from 03 to 06 fostered economic growth and introduced progressive social policies, but lost power amid a financial scandal in his party. Yeah, all you need is one jackass to screw up your agenda, and there it was. 1946, The Killers, starring Ava Gardner and Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster is the best Hollywood name. I don't know if that's his real name, but it's a great name. I wish my name was Burt Lancaster. I could do anything I wanted, I swear to you. In his breakthrough role, it had its world premiere in New York City and became a film noir classic. Oh, yeah. Ava Gardner walked in the room. She had dark, piercing eyes. She made me wish I was a little boy again. That kind of the narration. The film noir. You throw out metaphors like they're, like candy, right?
That's all the
She had the eyes that make her eyes made me fold like a $2 suitcase. That kind of shit. 1952, writer and teacher Rita Dove, poet laureate of the United States, was born in Akron, Ohio. She was the poet laureate from 1993 to 95, and winner of the 1987 Pulitzer Prize for Thomas and Beulah. Was published in 1986. And I'm sure since she's a black author, was probably banned from libraries now because of fascism. We want to pretend that, white people have always been kind, which we know is not true from personal experience. 1968, protests at the 1968 Democratic National Convention, fueled in part by the opposition to the Vietnam War, culminated at the so-called Battle of Michigan Avenue, a violent confrontation between demonstrators and police. Of course, the thug mayor of Chicago, Richard Daley, escalated it. It was basically just a protest where the police just said, "Hey, let's bust some heads." And that's what happened. If you want to blame the protesters, go ahead. But the United States, you have a right to protest without the cops beating your skull in. 1993,
and yet they still tend to beat your skull in for some reason.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you people are troublemakers, and we're like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're troublemakers. Get used to it. 1993, the spacecraft Galileo took pictures of the asteroid Ida and said, hey, it's a big rock with a bunch of pits in it. 1996, the 15-year marriage of Charles and Diana ended as a final divorce decree was issued, and Charles could get on with his life and they could plan her assassination. In 2014, I'm never giving that up. She was assassinated. It's just so obvious. I'm whatever, man. I don't know if it was the British government or the IRA, but it was probably the British government. And if it was the IRA, then the IRA just said, the British royal family, I should say, said, we don't care. 2014, American spy John Walker died in prison at the age of 77. Back when giving secrets or selling secrets to foreign countries was illegal in America, it's no longer illegal. You can do it with impunity as much as you want. There's absolutely no punishment for it, as was proven over the last 4 years. Anyway, John Walker was a U.S. Navy communications specialist who passed classified documents to Soviet agents for nearly 2 decades, 67 to 85 before being caught. I remember when he got caught, my boss at the time was like, oh, he shoots an electric chair. I said, in 20 years, we'll be laughing at somebody getting executed for spying for the Soviets. And I was right. We were laughing at it within... Well, let's see, it was 86 or 80. When did he get caught? 87, I think. So anyway, he got caught. He died in prison, but that's not even illegal anymore because, we have a fascist in charge who's on Russia's side. So why would we not sell secrets to Russia? 2020 is the sad day where Chadwick Boseman, who is known for playing the Black Panther, died at the age of 43 from colon cancer. Oh my God, that's really young.
Yeah, it was awful.
Colon cancer. Yeah, a lot of cancer today. We had Vince Lombardi. We had, of course, Brian Piccolo. And now we get to remember Chadwick Boseman dying of cancer. Cancer sucks. Our Civil Rights Day in History featured event on this day in 1963 was the Civil Rights March on Washington. On this day in 63, some 200,000 people marched to Washington, D.C., an event that became high point of the Civil Rights Movement. Especially remembered for his famous I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King. Other featured biography, another person murdered for no good reason. Murder victim Emmett Till. It's his birthday today. Today, Emmett Till would be 84. He was born this is the day he was murdered. This is the day he was murdered. August 28th, 1955, at the age of 14. For supposedly whistling at a white lady or saying something or even talking to a white lady.
Have a good day.
Mob beat him to a death.
Yep. And hung him after they beat him to death onto a tree.
Yeah, after he was dead. Right. Again, they were awful, awful people. The mother had to open casket so you could see what you did. Because his birthday was July 25th, 1941. And if you know anybody that's still alive at the age of 84, this young man probably should still be alive. There's no predicting anything that could have happened in this America we have. But my thing is, if we, maybe I'll make a list of if Jesus ever showed up, what will we do to him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Emmett Till was Jesus. Maybe he was Jesus. Maybe he died for our sins. Do you ever think of that? We say Jesus died for our sins, but I think Emmett Till died for our sins. That's what I think. So there's featured by other birthdays today. 1962, David Fincher, American director, born in 1962. We got a lot of young people in these birthdays. He's only 63 today. Shania Twain's birthday. She's turning 60. She's old. Oh my God. Of course, Shania Twain famous
and she
for
still
marrying.
Feels like a woman.
Yeah. She's famous for marrying Mutt Lange, who is like 90 years older than she was. Okay? I don't know if they're still married anymore. Mutt Lange is a music producer who produced AC/DC, amongst others. So, yeah, she married Mutt Lange, who was, I'd say, 60-something when Shania was 25. I don't know if they're still married anymore, but there you go. Shania, who is Canadian. That's why her music doesn't sound like country. She's Canadian. She's not country. 1969... Sheryl Sandberg was born, American business executive. Never heard of her, but there she is. Happy birthday. Jack Black's birthday. Yeah, I guess that's his real name. Jack Black. His mom said, here's your name. It's going to be the most ordinary name ever. Jack Black. 1969 is his birthday. He's turning 56. And Leanne Rimes, American country singer, is turning 43. She was born in 1982. So happy birthday to Leanne Rimes. You're getting old. Congratulations.
Sheryl Sandberg is
National
the current
Day calendar.
CEO of Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, COO. Not CEO, but COO.
Boo! Meta? Boo! Screw you, fascists. You're a bunch of fascists! I won't be started on Facebook and their policies, where you can get insulted all day long and report people and you never get booted, but as soon as you insult a fascist, bam, you're off. You can't be on there anymore. Same as X, same as Twitter nowadays, where, of course, Bill Burr didn't even insult anybody on Twitter, and he got banned for Twitter just for having a thought somewhere else. So fascism taking hold in all of our social media. Facebook is destroyed completely, has no integrity. Our national days today is National Thoughtful Day. National Thoughtful Day. Always be thoughtful. Stop being thoughtless. Think of other people. You're not the only one here. Right? You wish you were. I know I do. But it's just not true. It's National Red Wine Day. So if you think you're the only one here and you don't want to be thoughtful, just get drunk and forget about it. National Power Rangers Day. If you love that show, I think that generational thing missed you, right? Power Rangers were big in the 90s or 80s or something. And I was like, what is this crap? So I don't know if you ever got into the Power Rangers, but I never understood any of it. It's National Bow Tie Day, so if you're like anybody that wants to look smarter than you really are, wear a bow tie. I guarantee you people think you're a professor. I guarantee it, especially if you got those elbow patches. elbow patches and bow tie, you're a professor. You don't need nothing else. College, get a bow tie, even if it's a clip-on. You're in. Everybody will believe everything you say. You don't even look it up. And it's also Rainbow Bridge Remembrance Day, so if you have a pet that's gone to the great beyond, even if it's a hamster or a fish or whatever it was, man, it meant something to you, just remember that pet, man, all the joy. Think of the joyless hours you would have spent without that pet. Just think about that for a minute. And it didn't cost you
the
nothing
joyless
to be happy.
hours.
Just get yourself, even if it was your pet slug. You know, my pet slug named Eric. Eric the pet slug. That's from Monty Python. But, yeah. If you want to buy a license for your pet fish, Eric, go on and do it. Just cross out dog and write fish. So there's your stories, your everything, your mispronunciations, your list, your limericks, your alliteration headlines, your metaphors for August 28th, 2025, I guess on Before Red Wine, because there's nothing else here to eat. Before Red Wine, just take it easy and stay off the highways.
Yeah.
Where's your segue?
Okay, my segue is 3 haikus. My first haiku.
Right, let me get my thing going here. All right, go ahead.
Voices rise like dawn. Dreams of justice fill the air. Freedom's march begins. Or, of course, Martin Luther speech and march and all that stuff.
Yes.
A boy's laughter fades. Echoes of injustice scream. Shadows linger still. For Emmett Till. Even rhymes with Emmett Till at the end. Soft pause in the light. Hearts remember those who've passed. Love's bridge spans the sky. For your lost pet, you crossed over the rainbow bridge. And there we go. We're done. Is there any... There are no UN International observances today, so that is it. This is Allison here from the Netherlands. Roger, of course, from the East Coast of the US. As we tie up another Thursday's 13, go watch some NFL movies if you haven't. Experiencing the thrill,
football. They're not
hard
NFL.
grit,
They're
and
just
even
football.
the story, right, of these people who really existed, like Lombardi and stuff, who changed the sport for the future. We will see you tomorrow for our Friday news dump, in which we will tell you all the things you need to know before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about it. So make sure you're subscribed, following, turn that notification on so you know when we go live and post a video. And here is our mic drop.
All right.
Make sure the top's ready. We'll check with the weather service by 5.
Here's your Samwise / Rudy moment.
He was in a lot
this
of
guy
movies
tells him,
before.
Right.
Hey.
Right
What you
on.
doing here?
I'm
Don't
just
you have
saying.
practice?
He was in the Goonies.
He basically called. Hey, he was a Goonie kid.
Well, since when are you the quitting kind?
I don't know. I just don't see the point anymore.
So you didn't make the dress.
This guy's in a lot of good stuff too.
There are greater
This guy has a
tragedies
very
in the world.
inspirational
I
speech
wanted to
for
run
him,
out
too.
of that tunnel for my dad. To prove to everyone that I
Prove
worked.
what?
That you a bitch?
That I was somebody.
Oh, you are so full of crap.
You're 5 foot nothing.
Imagine if he said that too.
Yeah.
Prove what? That you're a little bitch?
100 and nothing. And you got hardly a speck of athletic.
You're
ability.
basically a hobbit.
And
What are you
with the
thinking,
best
kid?
college football team in the land for 2 years.
Also, aren't running
and
backs
you're
really
also
small?
gonna walk out of here
Because
with
they
a
can run?
degree from the University of Notre Dame.
I swear.
Not 5 foot.
In this
Oh,
lifetime,
no, he's
you don't have to
really
prove
small.
nothing to
Okay,
nobody
really
except
small.
yourself.
Really
But
small.
after what
Like,
you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't gonna never happen.
Yeah, stop dragging your feet,
I'm going
Samwise.
back.
my dad wants me to run out the tunnel. That's all he seems to care
I
about.
never got
All
you to
right.
see your first game.
Okay, your dad wants you to do it. What do you want to do?
Hell, I've seen too many games.
Living your dad's dreams. That's kind of sad, right?
But you said you never
Yeah.
saw a
I've
game.
never seen a game from the
Never live
stands.
your
You were
parents'
a player?
dreams.
You were a player?
Of course he
I rode the bench.
rode the
for
bench.
2
That
years.
sucks. But you get to watch the game.
Thought I wasn't being played
Bessie in the
because of my
house.
color. I got filled
On
up
the
with
bench.
a lot of attitude.
He
So I
quit
quit.
because...
Still not a week goes by.
Yeah,
I
don't quit,
regret it.
Rudy.
And I guarantee a week won't go by.
There would be no Rudy movie if he quit.
You want to live your life in regret, or you want to live your life knowing you tried your best?
I like how they leave that scratch over his eye, right? Like, these shit don't heal overnight, Hollywood. Right?
Yeah, that is a problem with a lot of Hollywood movies where they don't.
Or they put it in the wrong place. That's another one I've seen. They put the scar. Wasn't that scar on the other side of his head? I know that's in Young Frankenstein, but wasn't that hump on the other side? What hump?
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels: Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.